Southwest Airlines passengers are praising this pilot who miraculously landed that flight 1380 in Philadelphia after an engine failure. The pilot is a veteran Navy Lieutenant Commander, Captain Tammy Jo Schultz. She was among the first class of female Navy fighter pilots and was trained in tactical warfare. I want you to listen to her voice as she is calmly describing this harrowing moment as her jet engine has just exploded.
Injured passengers, okay, and is your airplane physically on fire?
Fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
Passengers celebrated her courage and how she handled the emergency.
She's unbelievable. I mean, she's a true hero. You know, the courage it took for her to take control of that situation and really just save everyone on board is really just unbelievable. I feel like I did win the lottery a bit. As soon as that plane landed, it was like oh my goodness, this is crazy. But I'm just trying to, just move on and, just put it behind me.
Unfortunately, one woman did die. Passenger Jennifer Riordan from New Mexico. She was a Wells Fargo executive, a wife, and a mother of two. Riordan was nearly sucked out of the plane window after the explosion shattered it. Meantime, Southwest Airlines just announced it is, quote unquote, accelerating its existing engine inspection program relating to the CFM56 engine family. We are also expecting an update from NTSB officials at some point this afternoon. The chairman says investigators found signs of metal fatigue on the left engine that failed. They also released this video showing investigators examining the engines, its edges just totally torn and ripped apart. There was also a fan blade missing from the plane's operating engine. And the FBI is asking anyone who finds plane debris like the piece discovered today to please contact the Philadelphia office as soon as possible. With me now, Alan Armstrong. He's a pilot and aviation attorney who represents crash victims, and he is standing next to a jet engine similar to the one on that Southwest 737. So, Alan, thank you so much for joining us there from Kennesaw, Georgia.
Brooke, you're very welcome.
So, you are the expert, sir. So I want you to just begin with, you are clearly standing in front of, and this is a similar plane. Tell me what kind of plane you're standing next to, and just walk me through the anatomy of an engine first and foremost.
Okay, a jet engine has been called a cylinder of spinning sabers. So here's your cylinder, and your spinning sabers are the blades, and they're the blades. The air rushes into the engine, the air is compressed by the blades. As the air is compressed, there is ignition, and as the air is propelled out the back of the engine, which gives you thrust, which powers the aircraft. In commercial jet aircraft, there is a belt here, a containment belt, to keep these blades from penetrating and flying out the nacelle and piercing the fuselage. Why this aircraft had a penetration of the fuselage yesterday, we do not know. Apparently the belt may have failed, but we don't know that for certain. I think the questions are, how did this happen? Well, you have these engine components spinning at a tremendous rate of speed, and if there is a fatigue crack at the base of the blade, it's going to, by virtue of centrifugal force, move away from the engine, possibly towards the fuselage, as we had yesterday.
So Alan, let me jump in. Can I jump in, sir? All right. So these are the different fan blades. These are the fan blades, and it's the NTSB saying a preliminary look at this Southwest Airlines engine shows one of its 24 fan blades was missing, and there was this evidence of metal fatigue, which, from what I've read, is not obvious to someone who's doing maintenance on the external piece, right? Explain metal fatigue for me and how you detect it.
Okay. An aircraft engine works on principles of heat. The engine is cold, and then when you start it, it gets hot. And when you shut it down, it gets cold again. So the metal is expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting, getting larger, getting smaller, and that can impart fatigue to the structure. Now, these parts, it depends upon what kind of parts you're talking about. They may be life limited, that is, after 10,000 hours, they're junk, or they may be what's called an on-condition part. And we don't know what this part was, but one thing we do know apparently is it had a fatigue crack, and it departed the engine into the fuselage of the aircraft by virtue of centrifugal force.
Okay, and I mean, listen, A lot of people watching you right now are thinking, could my next aircraft be at risk? I mean, are other airlines, other planes, could the same risk exist?
Brooke, they're all at risk. They're all at risk, Brooke. Every one of them is at risk.
So
This is a reality.
how do we make sure this doesn't happen on any of the planes in the future?
Flying is risk assessment and mitigating risk, Brooke. We cannot completely eliminate the risk if we're going to operate aircraft. We can inspect, we can survey, we can examine, but we cannot guarantee.
And just last quick question, as a pilot, Alan, what do you make of this this pilot who really saved the day?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. My hat's off to her. Great job.
Alan
Great job.
Armstrong, I appreciate you. Thank you so very much for your expertise, just walking us through what might have happened. This flight, no question, terrifying. Next, we'll speak to a passenger who's actually buying time on the internet as this plane was going down and live streamed this experience. Desperate to make contact with the outside world, perhaps to say goodbye, thinking he wouldn't survive.